All right, sorry about that. I got a phone call mid-recording. So where I left off, Winifred, the lady of Little Lambs, she's the most God-loving, God-serving person, and she makes us kids feel so loved by her and by God, and it's so awesome to see how much they love the Lord, even though they're in such a terrible situation. Um, So this next quote from 2 Samuel. So Joab blew the trumpet, and all the people halted and pursued Israel no longer, nor did they continue to fight anymore. So I think this quote is specifically cool because it shows how like awesome and powerful like a trumpet can be, and that's part of the reason why I love playing trumpet. It's so fun, and there's so much power behind playing the trumpet. I've played since I was 11 years old in 6th grade. When I started playing at the time, I had no idea that 10 years later I'd still be playing. And honestly, I love it so much that I'll probably be playing the rest of my life. This picture right here is when I first got my senior boots in the Corps. I'm in the Fighting Texas Aggie band. I play trumpet, and it's been such a huge thing in my life that I brought it to college. So one thing I love about music specifically, this quote from Plato actually, music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. So music in general, it's so beautiful, and it can apply to anything. You can put music with anything. And musicality is art, and it's very personal. Musicality could be very different from one person than it is for another. So it's completely personal. It's what you love. It's what you enjoy. But what I love the most about music is musicality can't really be taught. It's your high school band director, they have an idea of musicality. Your private lesson teacher has an idea of musicality, but it's all what you believe is musical. And if you believe it's musical, it's good enough for you, and it satisfies you, and it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And when I play my trumpet, when I make music, I feel so peaceful. I feel artistic, and honestly, I feel empowered that I'm able to create such, in my opinion, beautiful music by myself. So as much as I just sat there and geeked out about playing trumpet, I do love sports. I am an absolute sport-loving band geek, and this picture is of me playing taps at a Veterans Day service, and then on the right is me standing in front of the 2015 World Series trophy, as well as the Royals 2015 pennant and the 2014 pennant, and the Rangers 2011-2012 AL pennants. So I want to be, with my love for sports, has pushed me to become a sport event coordinator, and part of that is stemmed from my core leadership position. As a sophomore, I was chosen to be the operations corporal, which means I was kind of the lowest man on the totem pole for operations. But there were some issues with the leadership, so I was promoted to the junior position, so second in command. And I was immediately thrown a ton of responsibility. One of those huge responsibilities was planning the Parents Weekend banquet, which is probably around 300 people in attendance. And just seeing what I was able to do with the banquet last year and this year when I was in charge of the operations chain, I in total raised over $4,000 for my organization, and I received tons of compliments. I never received any negative comments. Oh, this could have gone horrible. Like you should have done this. You should have done this. I was always getting compliments about how well it was and how nice the event was. And I looked at that and I loved it. I love that other people were enjoying the event that I worked so hard to put on. So below this is just some few descriptions of what an event coordinator would do. The program coordinator, the venue coordinator, so they help find a place that the event's gonna be at. The equipment coordinator, so they make sure that there's sound equipment, there's equipment maintenance. and that there's transportation. Promotions coordinator, so you speak with the media, you do advertising, you spread out to the public to try and get people to come to your event. And then there's the officials coordinator, so all sporting events have some type of referee, umpires, line judges, etc. So you make sure you have the proper officials. And then there's hospitality, so sponsoring, catering, and then like the event that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, there we had a banquet for the sponsors, so that would be the reception of dignitaries. And then you have the merchandising coordinator. So you're in charge of sales. You're in charge of giveaways from the sponsors, whether that's, hey, hit this sign and everybody gets a free Whataburger, to, this row or this section in the stands gets a free Whataburger, lucky draw. So the sports event coordinator has a lot to do. So because of my experiences in the Corps, and I decided that I kind of liked the event coordinating, I decided to take a class called Facility Management and Event Planning, specifically for sports. So I learned a lot of tips and tricks for better results, whether that's risk management to have a safer venue, or how to raise more money. What little things can you do on promotions to get more people to spend? But one thing I learned is that people love sporting events because it's a random outcome. There's no guaranteed outcome. If you go to a baseball game, you can't guarantee that a team's going to win. You can, but you might anger some fans and get a lot of complaints if it doesn't turn out, because you have no way of absolutely predicting every single time what's going to happen. So along with that, there's a quote from John Zorn that says, "It's a blast to watch. It's a lot more interesting live than it is on record." I mean, it really is a theatrical event. It's a sporting event because you never know what's going to happen. So interesting enough, to tie this back to music, John Zorn was a saxophone player and was talking about a band concert. So he was saying that the band concert was so theatrical and so much more interesting live than it was watching it, on a TV or just listening to it, that it's basically a sporting event. So I thought that was really cool to tie that back into something that I love of music. So one experience that I had with this facility management class is I got to intern for Ryan Sanders Baseball for an event that they put on over spring break called MLB Weekend, HEB MLB Weekend. HEB was the #1 sponsor, so they got their name on the title. So I got an opportunity to be behind the scenes for the banquet that they did for the sponsors. There was a silent auction, and with my banquets that I've done, we've always done silent auctions, so it was fun to give a little bit of tips to them to increase their profit, but it was also cool to see what they were doing different to increase their profit from what I had done in the past, which I ended up using for my banquet that was later on. And we also worked for 2 games. So MLB Weekend, HEB MLB Weekend, was a 3-day experience. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with the banquet on Thursday night, and Friday and Saturday there were 2 baseball games between the Royals, the previous World Series champs, and then the hometown team, the Texas Rangers, who Ryan Sanders Baseball partner with. So I got to work those games, and I got to see more of the game day operations side. We had 2 fan fests, one on each game day, and I got to see how those were run, all the sponsors that were there, the deals that they had with the sponsors, and the sponsorship fulfillment, as well as all the signage saying, hey, like, these are our sponsors, Whataburger, HEB, all kinds of stuff like that. So having this experience definitely assured my prospective career path that I wanted to be a sports event coordinator. I had so much fun being able to help run the event, but also see the sports coordinator, her name was Deza Swain, being able to see her and everything that she does. It assured me that was something that I wanted to do. So it's never too late to plan your future. That was one of the quotes that I had. And that just goes along with me, planning my future as a sports event coordinator. So, in recap, the first thing I spoke about was my trip to Kenya, about all the experiences I had in meeting the people around Kenya and my group. The second thing I talked about was my love for trumpet. This is actually a senior picture from high school of me playing my trumpet because I loved it so much and it's such a big part of my life that I wanted that to be shown. And then the top is the main advertisement for the HEB Big League Weekend featuring the Royals and the Texas Rangers. Thank you.